Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is David Zhao, and I'm the managing director of Coda Strategy. This is part two of the CDO magazine interview series with Mike Jennings, senior director of data governance and architecture at Walgreens Boots Alliance. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Glad to be here, David.
Now, want to get into the business and the data of healthcare. 'Cause that's what we're here for. And I want to start off with this concept of patient centricity. Now, patient centricity is increasingly vital for retail pharmacies such as Walgreens. And we should argue everything we do in healthcare should enhance patient outcomes and experiences in some way. So, my question is, how does Walgreens specifically leverage data to advance patient centricity?
We look across the data we have on patients and data we have from partners and third parties and try to look across and have a 360 view of the patient to better understand what their needs are and what services can be provided to them. Now, that's, and we have our own data, but there's other data sources that can be potentially used and leveraged for that. Um, then we have to also look at what the patient wants. What are their preferences? What are their consents? What communications do they want? Depending what the services are and all that, those could vary. We have retail side and we have the pharmacy and the healthcare side. How they want to be communicated with or given services are could vary depending on which business line is we're looking at. So trying to better understand the patient's understanding what they want and what services they want. In some cases, what they don't want, where they don't want to be communicated at from a certain way. And all that has to be balanced with the regulatory rules. We have regulatory rules on the retail consumer side, like state privacy laws. And on the patient healthcare side, we have HIPAA, we have TCPA, and we have high trust some. So things we can do with the data and what we can't do. Pharmacy data cannot be used by itself to market to a patient. You'd have to have express consent from them to do that. So maintaining those walls of usage around the data is all part of that. And that way we provide hopefully the best services that the patient wants and is looking for doing that.
Got it. Got it. Now, many people will argue data is also a people problem. We can have the best of intentions for the patient in mind, but how would you advise guiding your data teams? Many of members don't understand healthcare data as well as you do. How would you guide them to focus on patient centricity?
So we do that on a daily basis. We look at the use cases that are being done. What's the sensitivity of the data? What's the risk of the data being disclosed? And use the appropriate guidelines and security and everything else around that to make sure that the data is used correctly and for the right purposes. And that's something you express or you train or make people understand on a daily basis. But we also have HIPAA training on an annual basis to reinforce that and to make sure people are aware of the different things they're responsible for with the usage of data, especially with patient data.
Absolutely, absolutely. That training part, that continuous reinforcement
Mhm.
is something that we see people try, but then they say, that's it becomes an annoyance.
Right. And that's where it has the training comes in and understand the criticality of it. And the seriousness, not only from rooping, ruining the reputation or disclosing patient data potentially, but also the reputational issues with that. So that's where the training is there and understand they're part of that and the seriousness of this if they don't follow the rules.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned something a bit earlier, and I want to dive deep into this, which is that healthcare data at the end of the day is incredibly complex. We have consumer data and patient data. We have provider data, pharmaceutical data, and then we have government and regulatory data. And as the pharmacy, you're kind of the nexus of all of that data. Uh, so how do you how do you even begin to manage it all?
Again, having data governance in place is one way of doing that. Um, Moving up and, understanding, talking to the business side, business users, understanding their usage and needs for that. Um, Things like making sure that our provider data that we have is accurate and being used, because if prescribers are completing scripts and fulfilling the orders on those, especially like with specialty drugs, things of that nature, and their licenses and or they're under sanctions, we can be fined for that. So that's a real impact of us with not having the right data or the right data quality, the latest information on that provider.
Absolutely. And then I just want to touch deep on that like provider data accuracy point, which is that even if you have 99% data accuracy, that's still hundreds of thousands or millions of providers that could potentially have erroneous information. So, like, what standard of data accuracy do you set for yourself in your data governance program? Understanding there's continuous improvement and everything, but what's the standard that we
I mean,
should shoot for?
ideally, in all cases, you're striving for 100%. Now, is that always practical? Probably not. But not only can you, you collect the provider data sometimes from third-party sources. It could be enhanced by real-world data collected in the store during services to enhance and get more accurate data. Because as somebody's bringing a script in, there could be new information about a provider that you're collecting. We have electronic scripting as well. So there's a lot of ways and input points to get the best data you can. On our customer and patient data, we collect data from various sources and compare it across the different business lines to make sure we have the most accurate, up-to-date data. And if updates do come in, we consume them and distribute them out to other business channels. So we have the latest information on our customers and our patients available through all of our business channels.
And I love that answer because, when you ask that to many people, they'll say, we need very rigid and well defined master data management approaches to control our data for data accuracy. But you've almost gone the opposite approach and said, well, we have to be flexible in how we intake data and just figure out how to maintain it all in order to improve data quality.
We still, with stuff, we have business rules and different methods of comparing data and making sure we have the most accurate data we can have. So we use deterministic business rules, we use a probabilistic logic, and we use a very conservative approach to make sure that we're identifying the customer or patient correctly, especially in the pharmacy and healthcare side. You don't want there's a risk if you don't have the right person and provide the wrong prescription dosage or things
Right.
like that.
Absolutely. And like the data accuracy there actually
Right.
saves lives in that case.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's all the time we have today. I want to thank you, Mike, again for taking the time to speak with me. My name is David Zhao, Managing Director of Coda Strategy, and I've been speaking with Mike Jennings from Walgreens Boots Alliance.
Thanks.